Hello everybody, welcome to the Comic Gamer Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to give you my video on how the MCU will bring Iron Man back. Now right now, I'm a bit under the weather. I'm still dealing with Corona, quarantining and whatnot, but I figured, I feel good enough, and I've been meaning to make this video for quite a while, for a little bit now, and, quarantining, got nothing but time, may as well do something. Trying to wait this out, got nothing but time, drinking plenty of water and all the stuff they tell you to do. And like I said, I'm feeling a bit better than I have been the last couple days. So I figured this would be a good time to make this video. Sorry if I cough, because I still kind of got that going whenever, it kind of just gets to me. But anyways, today's video is about, it's occurred to me not that long ago that I'm like, okay, first of all, if they're gonna bring Iron Man back, Robert Downey Jr. back, they're gonna have to do it in a unique way, because RDJ, he does not need Marvel's money anymore. He doesn't need the Disney money. He doesn't need the support from Marvel, and they've kind of made it kind of clear that they don't want to have to pay him as much as he's gonna be asking for, all the time. So even if RDJ does come back, Robert Downey Jr. comes back, he's not going to come back on any long-term, for any long-term storytelling, purposes. He's going to come back for like 1 or 2 films. He's going to come back in like a big Avengers movie, maybe Avengers Part 1, and he's going to come back for a Part 1 and a Part 2 of an Avengers movie. And after that, then he's going to be done with the Marvel. But that's pretty much going to be it. He's going to come back one more time, I believe. He's going to be in a couple movies, and then that's going to be it. By that time, he'd be damn near in his 60. By that time he comes back completely, because he's got to be like, I think he's like 50-something. He's got to be like 56, something shit like that. 55, something like that. So by the time he comes back, and by the time after those 2 Avengers films, he'll be well in his 60s, So he's probably not going to want to be doing this forever. So it occurred to me, I'm like, okay, well, there's an obvious way to do this. And my theory is they are going to do the Secret Empire storyline. Yes, the Captain America being a Hydra agent storyline. Except they're going to do it with Iron Man. My suggestion is they're going to swerve everybody. They're going to make you think that they just straight up brought Robert Downey Jr. back from another dimension. That's what's going to happen. He's going to come to Earth from another dimension. It's going to be a different Tony Stark. And he's going to seem like the exact same Tony Stark that we know and love. And he's going to murder somebody. Maybe Bruce Banner or Clint Barton or Thor, someone. He's going to murder someone. And it's going to be revealed that he isn't our Iron Man, that he is from another dimension, that his dimension is that maybe that's going to be how they end up doing Secret Wars. It's going to be through that. They're going to combine Secret Wars and what is it? Empire? Was it Secret Empire? Yeah, was it Secret Empire? I think it was Secret Empire. And Secret Empire to make this interesting story where there's going to be a bunch of evil versions of other characters on the other side, but the initial setup for it is going to be great. Like, that's how I think they're going to do it. The initial setup is going to be, oh, Marvel just straight up brought Robert Downey Jr. back as Iron Man from another dimension. He's going to seem just like that. And everyone, and all the critics and all the MCU haters are going to be like, see, death doesn't mean anything. Death doesn't mean anything. Oh, they just brought him back, and then when you're least expect it, when you're least thinking about it, boom, he's gonna murder one of the last founding Avengers. He's gonna reveal himself to be, a different version of Iron Man. I could see Robert Downey Jr. being lured back with playing with a juicy role of playing an evil version of Tony, of playing a Tony who was everything, who was like all of Tony's worst attributes, all amplified to the worst degree. I can see Robert Downey Jr. being lured back by wanting to play that kind of a role, and because when I was sitting here thinking about it, I was like, the only way we can get RDJ back is to put a role in front of him that would be so interesting and so different that he'd want to come back. And the only type of way you can do that, in my opinion, is to go full evil Iron Man. It will It will fuck up kids. It will tug on heartstrings. We will feel kind of conflicted about him because we have all these emotions about Iron Man. We might hear, and they can get kind of in depth on like how he became this darker version of Iron Man. Maybe some things happened on his version, in his reality, on his on his Earth. Maybe things happened on his Earth. Maybe things didn't happen on his Earth. But we can really get into that and get into how he became, and how he convinced all the heroes and whatnot on his reality to get on board with this. And then we can get this full-on interesting villain, like the main villain. Like, wouldn't that be just awesome? The main big bad of the next two Avengers movies maybe not the next two, but like the next big, huge Avengers Infinity War films, Infinity War and Endgame films, like the blow up is Iron Man, is an evil version, or, a twisted version of Iron Man. You bring Robert Downey Jr. back, he gets to put some real Thanos' effort on this shit. We can understand his methods, understand how he got here. It could be something kind of akin to DC's done a couple things like that, like with Flashpoint and whatnot. I'm trying to think of what comic books I'm trying to reference here. But like with being able to see, like, he went down this dark path, like just seeing how certain things, kind of like a what if, like it could kind of be like a what if scenario, except it's happening. I think that would be fascinating. I think that's the only way you're gonna, like I said, the only way you're gonna be able to get RDJ back is if you put out something tantalizing. Because simply telling him, like, this isn't a Spider-Man No Way Home situation. This isn't a, hey, it's been 20 years in the case of Tobey Maguire. This isn't it's been what, 8 years, something like that. How long has it been since Amazing Spider-Man 2? 8? 6? 7? I can't remember. But either way, Amazing Spider-Man 2 had a rotten ending, and Andrew Garfield had a really bad breakup, basically, with Sony and the writers, and all that kind of blew up and was just, chaotic. This isn't one of those situations where both Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire just wanted to come back and do this because they thought it would be fun. They thought it'd be a fun thing to do, and to support Tom. That's why they wanted to do this. One, they thought it'd be fun for not only them but their fans, and they wanted to support Tom Holland. This isn't one of those cases because they had, and to a lesser degree, they felt like they wanted to come back and do this because they could. RDJ did everything he possibly, or not everything he possibly could do, but from a storytelling perspective, the only reason to keep Iron Man around is so he can meet characters that they have now. But from an actual storytelling perspective, there was nowhere else to go with Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man because he had completed his emotional arc. And if you were to tell more Iron Man stories, it would just be kind of like, because every story, like, that's how the MCU works. It's like, every character has their own little arcs going on, and every movie, now TV show, your arc gets, even more, you get more and more of the arc until they reach their conclusion, and then they have their full arc. Captain America and Iron Man had their full arc. So, arguably, Thor had his full arc too, but, But he kind of fell in despair after But Captain America, but you notice how I know that Captain America and Tony had their full arcs? Because in Endgame, they were the only two not completely broken by what happened. If you noticed. It's not a coincidence that both Cap and Iron Man, the two people who have been taken off the board, other than Black Widow, who maybe that's why people feel some type of way about, because she died without getting an arc, without getting a full arc, which, I mean, that was, it's not that she died that bothers some people. It's that she never got her movies before she died. If Black Widow had gotten 3 films and then she did that, no one would have had a problem. It would have been a much more impactful moment. It still was impactful to me because that is clearly, because when it happened, it was like, yeah, that's clearly where her, where she's leading to. Someone who's taken so many lives, someone who's done all the things she did. This is the conclusion. But it's pretty clear and, straightforward to me that fucking, that Captain America and Iron Man's arcs were complete. Like, they were complete. There's nowhere else to go with them that wouldn't just be making shit up. You would basically just be coming up with problems to digress them back in their arcs. Like, which would be just like, okay, dude, like, they've gotten where you've gotten. It's the reason why in so many movies and TV shows, they linger out characters dealing with issues. Like, I'm recently watching House, binging House again. Love that show. I'm having a great time binging it. And I'm binging it and I'm realizing, if House just dealt with his, like, if he had dealt with half of the stuff, if he would have dealt with this shit in season 1, the way he dealt with this shit in the last season, well, fuck, all of this none of this show would have been like a season and a half. So, you know, that's just how it is. So those characters wrapped up their arcs. So I can't see a narrative reason that Robert Downey Jr. would want to come back. There is nothing juicy except if he's coming back to play an evil, well, maybe not even evil. That's kind of, I don't think they would pitch it to him like that. If he's coming back to play a complicated, a different, a withered, a broken down, a miserable, like a Tony Stark who is all of the negative aspects of our version of Tony Stark. And a Tony Stark who has been through some shit, seen some things, who has lost his smile, who has lost his wit. Like, if he's coming back to play this mean-ass version of Iron Man, that I think he'd be on board with. And that is how I would bring back Iron Man. Anyway, stay guys, join the Complicated Movie Show. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.